Welcome to Reality of the Rose with your host, Natalie Sprink.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 217 of Reality of the Rose. I'm your host, Natalie Sprink. Well, thanks for joining me for this episode where I discuss my realities and a little bit of reality TV. So you'll notice my background is different. We are in our little second home of Idaho for a few weeks. So we've been here a week already, and I decided that it's time to record a podcast. Unfortunately, while I'm here, I'm having to work pretty much the whole time that we're here because it's just really busy right now. And so that might seem like, oh, that really sucks, but it's actually not that bad because I have a different view. I have my little desk set up so that it looks out the window so that I can see the mountains and that's my backdrop or my front drop, I guess that would be, while I'm working. So that makes it not so bad. On top of the fact that if I'm being fully honest, when we're here, Tim is able to keep really busy here. Like that's just his nature he likes to piddle, but it's not really piddling. I mean, it's like legit stuff. But we have about, I should know exactly. He would know exactly. I don't like, this is like a whole thing. But I like probably 4 acres or so, maybe something like that. And, so he piddles with this and piddles with that and it's a whole thing. Anyway, he finds a lot to do every day. I not so much. So, a better wife may like help him piddle. That's just, I'm not a piddler. And when I say piddle, I don't mean like, I mean like physical labor stuff. Like cleans out the ditch and he like cuts wood up and he like fixes the carburetor and the side by side. I'm just like making shit up. Well, not really, but kind of. You know what I mean? Like he does that like mechanical, technical, physical labor stuff. And that's just not me. It just isn't. So, I mean, I'll help him if he needs help. But like that's the kind of piddling that I don't really do. My piddling is like cleaning up the kitchen or shopping online. I don't know. Anyway, so like I guess what I'm saying is I would probably get a little bored if I didn't, because we're pretty rural. We're pretty kind of middle of nowhere. And there's not like a coffee shop I can go have coffee at down the street or I don't know. Anyway, so I like feel like I might be a little bored if I didn't have anything to do. So I guess it's kind of good that I have work to do during the day. So anyway, but it's very relaxing and it's actually very nice here right now. This time of year, I feel like the weather is like all over the place everywhere. I mean, like pretty much everywhere. I have friends that are in Florida right now and they're like having some shitty days, but they're having some nice days. Allie in New York is having some shitty days, but then the next day's nice. Here, like for instance, today is really pretty. We're going to get out and probably take a walk or take a ride or something. And because it's supposed to be like mid 60s and it's sunny and it's beautiful, but tomorrow they're forecasting to be like 40 and snow. So it's like all over the place. It's like that back at home in Wisconsin too. Like there'll be a really nice day and then we get a blizzard the next day, But anyway, it's relaxing and it's nice. So speaking of my rose and thorn for the week or the time period, I should say, between my last podcast and this podcast, I would say this is my now rose of the podcast is being out here. Like I said, we're going to be here for 3 weeks. So hopefully, everything goes well. I hope everything goes well at home. By the time we get home, little Stevie Rose should be due in just a few days, which I'm so excited about. And I had a little talk with her because we went to visit them right before we left for this trip. And I had a little talk with her, and we flew out of Minneapolis to come out here, which is close to where Matthew and Kenzie live. And so we saw them. They took us to the airport, and I had a little talk with Stevie, and I said, look, we're going to be flying back in on April 11th. So if you don't mind coming a few days early so that I'm just right here, when you're born, that would be amazing. I mean, I'm going to be your favorite grandma, so it would be awesome if you could just do me that, just a little favor. I mean, it's not much. I mean, you're just going to, you're due, let's see, 5 days later. What's 5 days? So just come a little early so Grandma Nat can be there for you. So we'll see. We'll see how well she listens. Anyway, so that is my rose for the week, is our trip out here. My thorn would be the death of my uncle, which was obviously very sad and kind of unexpected. This also happens to be the dad of my best friend Becky, who is friend of show, has been on the podcast several times, as her daughter Lydia, and so it touched home even a little bit more. Not only was it my uncle, but it's my best friend's dad. So it's kind of like a double whammy, and he didn't have like the greatest of health. He had COPD, but like it was still a little bit sudden, and some unexpected things happened that triggered the whole thing. And so anyway, that's been a very sad ordeal in our whole family. But and it's just kind of sad too, because like it's my first aunt or uncle to pass on both sides of my family. So it's also just kind of like that reality of, it's that time in my life, where I don't know, I don't like to think about it, and I don't really want to talk about it, but where my cousins and my friends that are my age and everybody, our parents are going to naturally start passing because of their age and things like that. And I just don't like to think about it. And realities hit when like this happened, and I see like what Becky and my other cousins, have to go through. And not only just everything, not only his death, which is hard enough, but then all the things that come with death, like, setting up the funeral and dealing with his affairs, and just so many things. And it's just like a period of time that I like always hoped, you just hope it never comes. You obviously know it's going to come, but then it's just like reality sinks in. So anyway, that is my thorn. I'm happy to know that he is up in heaven right now. Becky and I actually talked about so her niece, the day, I think it was the day after he passed, had a car accident, but thankfully she was not hurt, and she could have been very bad. So Becky and I decided that was definitely Uncle Willis's first act as an angel. So I thought that was, and I think it probably was. So anyway, that was neat. So yeah, those are my rose and thorns of the week. As far as my realities for the week, all right, let's see. I thought of a few things. These are always things that like have happened to me or I've thought about, in the past week or whatever. So, and I kind of just make notes of them as I think of them for the podcast. It's just how my mind works. So one of them is my kitchen pet peeves / OCD. All right. So I'm one of these that like my kitchen is my, what do I want to say? It's not my haven, but it's like my calming place, which is funny because I hate to cook. And so what I mean by that is like, I feel like if my kitchen is clean, then my whole house is clean. You know what I mean? Like, there's something about my kitchen and having everything in order that I feel like is just like calms me. And if my kitchen's clean, I can be like, okay, you know, I mean, like, I'm like that for the most part for my house. I'm not a dirty person. I'm not a cluttery person. I'll say one thing though, the little things that might be dirty in my house don't bother me, but the big things do. Like, like if my windows are dirty, I don't give a shit. And if I see a spot, I'll just clean that spot. I freaking hate cleaning windows. So like that type of thing. But overall, if my kitchen's clean, I'm in a good place. But specific things that are just so annoying to me are it's there's probably more than this, but the three that I've experienced just like recently. One, the trash. So we have two like trash, like so when you pull open the drawer where the trash can is, so ours is in the drawer. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But like instead of just one trash can, it's like a dual one. And so one's in front of the other. So obviously you have to pull the drawer out further to get to the second one, right? I mean, it's not that hard, but it completely annoys me with, I feel like everyone does this, but especially my family. So like if the first one is filled, what do? You go to the second one, right? Right? Well, that's what you're supposed to do. Instead, my family keeps heaping it up on the first one and not putting in the second one. So I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to set a good example and, do what I do what you're supposed to do, and put it in the second one. Doesn't help. So I keep putting trash in the second one. When I pull it open, next there's a Cheez-It box on top of the first one, like brimming up, it's like overflowing. Okay. So I just like to test the theory. I'm like, I'm not gonna move the Cheez-It box. I'm just gonna keep just to see how long this lasts. Throw something else away. The next time I pull it open, there's a to-go cup sitting on top. Second trash can, totally empty, completely empty, except for the few things of trash I'm putting in. And they still put it in the first one. And nobody changes it. Nobody thinks to go, oh, so you know what sometimes I do? I'll take, instead of like taking the bag out, which wouldn't that just be what you do? Take the bag out, go take it out, take the trash out, put a new bag in. Like, of course, if you don't want to throw in the second one, do that. That doesn't happen. Nope. So then I will like move the I'll move the cans, around. Like I'll put the empty one in front and put the other one in back. Sure enough, then they start using that one. Like I don't get that in my head. How does that work? How come you don't see the emptiness in the second trash can, but you keep putting the trash in the first one? Am I right? Doesn't that like make logical sense? But nope. They just keep piling it up, even so much so that when you pull the freaking drawer open, like it catches, like the cheese box catches on the, like as you're pulling it out and falls out. Like how, oh, absolutely drives me insane. Absolutely drives me insane. So, so I just have come to accept this in my house and in my mind, and I'm the one, pretty much the only one that takes out the trash ever, 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 and especially the only one that ever uses the freaking Why do we even have a second trash can in there? Why do we even have a dual one? Because no one fucking uses it. Just pisses me off. The other thing is, this is a really kind of very specific yet random, if that's possible to have both of those things. So the other thing that annoys the shit out of me is when you go to open the refrigerator door, but it mostly happens in my house with the refrigerator, but also happens sometimes with the microwave. But you go to open the refrigerator and you grab the handle and there's like gunk on the handle, right? So like you feel it with your hands and the fingers. I mean, and I'm not talking just like a little gunk, but like a lot of gunk. I mean, it's as if someone like dipped their hand in a freaking bowl of oatmeal and then let it dry and then not let it dry, but then open the fridge. or like, I don't know, whatever. It's like, how do you get gunk on the refrigerator door? Like, I'm not like a crazy hand washer. I've talked about that before, where I'm not like a crazy person who constantly washes my hands. So it's not even about the hand washing. It's just about like, if I literally have shit on my hands, whatever it may be, I don't even know what it could be. Like, what are you messing with that you, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think. I can't even think. But well, that would be the only thing I can think of is if you're mixing something with your hands and you wouldn't wash your hands and you open the door. Like, how do you open the door with the gunk on your hands? Ugh. And I hate it. I hate it. So I open the door and there feel gunk on the handles. And so then I have to like, you know, clean the refrigerator door. I know it's so specific, so random, but it happens more than you would think it happens. I mean, it actually happens quite a bit where I have to clean the door handle of the kitchen. Just wash the gunk off your hands. Just do it. Wipe it. Don't even have to wash it. Just, okay. So that's the other thing. The third thing, now this is an OCD thing, and it is my dishwasher. So, yes, I am one of those who is OCD about their dishwasher. I don't like, one, for loading, and two, for unloading. So I don't like it if you load my dishwasher and the plates go the wrong way or the cups go in the wrong way. The bowls have to go a specific way in the top. The cups have to go a specific way in the top. The plates have to go a specific way in the bottom. And I put certain things on top and certain things on bottom. Like, it's very specific. And I try really, really hard. I know this is irrational, and I know that this is like a mild OCD thing, but I have it. And I try my hardest. If someone like is kind enough to load the dishwasher for me, that I don't have to do it. That's how probably a rational brain would think. Instead of being thankful, I like am not. I'm like annoyed because like a random big spoon that should be on the bottom is on top, or a random like leftover bowl that is should be on the bottom is on the top, or the plates are in like the completely wrong direction and the wrong part of the bottom drawer. Like, that can't happen. So sometimes I try really, really, really hard to just be like, nope, just let it be. Just don't turn the plate around. Just don't. And I might even like let that go and close the dishwasher and be like, okay, it'll be okay. But then the next time I go to open it, I don't know that there's been one time where I just haven't relented and changed it to the way that's supposed to be. So I'm one of those people. It has to be. So really, I just tell my family, God bless you if you want to put the stuff in the dishwasher, but like, just don't. Like, just let me do it. So some people might think, if they would be in my house, that there's all these dishes on the counter, and they think, geez, like, why do you make her put everything in the dishwasher? Just put in the dishwasher. No, no, I don't want it that way. I'm asking, they're being kind to me. They're allowing me to have my OCD about my dishwasher. So my family doesn't even bother putting shit in the dishwasher, and I'm very happy about that. The other thing is unloading the dishwasher. So I guess that's not an OCD. That's more like a cabinet OCD thing. Like, I want all my shit to be where I know it is, right? Because another weird OCD thing is like when, like, if I'm hosting and my, like, my mother-in-law especially likes to help clean up. And I would never tell her, like, don't help me clean up. I just want to clean up my own kitchen because everything has a place. I don't like, if you put something in the fridge in the wrong place, again, that's another, I just thought of that. That's another thing. I need it to go in the right place in the fridge. I'll just move it if it doesn't. And so I know that she or anyone that is trying to help me clean my kitchen is obviously just trying to help. In general, just let me take care of the kitchen. It's so weird because I don't even like to cook. So I guess like like the basis of this is, like, cook all you want. Like, you can cook in my kitchen. That would be great. I don't care about that. You actually mess up the kitchen as much as you want. Cook any meal that you want to, but let me clean it up. Let me put the leftovers away. Let me load and unload the dishwasher. That's how it needs to be. So like people know now. So there was one specific time where I just like admitted this, and we had people over at our house, and what my best friend Jody like knows this about me, and so she never tries to help me clean my kitchen. And so, but we had other people over, and so my mother-in-law was like taken over, and she kind of like was cleaning the kitchen up, and that like gave me so much anxiety that I can't even like be in the kitchen while she's doing it, but I like don't have the nerve to just say, "Hey, can you go sit down and just let me clean the kitchen because this is getting on my nerves." I can't. It's like so irrational. I know it's so irrational. So I sat there on the couch, and Jody was there too, and she was sitting next to me, and I was like, "Okay, I'm trying my hardest to not think about it. I can't look over in the kitchen because they're not doing it right." Because I heard there was someone else. There was another guest we had there that was like helping her. So they were trying to be nice because I had cooked and prepared the meal, and so they were cleaning up, like, which is fair. Like that's totally nice. But in my mind, I'm like, oh my god, I can't. Oh my god, I can't. So Jody was just like, it's okay, just don't look in there, just let them do it, whatever. Someone caught on. I think it was someone else that knew that I was that way with my kitchen. Like, don't mess with that kitchen. And they noticed me doing it, and they kind of called me out in front of everybody as a joke ish. And so I just like said it. I was like, yes, I said to my mother-in-law and the other person, I was like, you in there cleaning my kitchen is giving me massive anxiety, and it's everything in me to not let it bother me. like yeah. And so I don't think my mother-in-law had any clue until that time how much it bothered me. And so so she really doesn't even really ask to help. But one of the things that bothers me the most is like, also I have certain, I sound like a crazy person. I have certain containers like, or like Rubbermaid or Tupperware or whatever, like in my mind makes sense for like to put my leftovers, right? And I don't know, I have the rationale in my head, but I can't explain it because it's probably not rational, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I have that. And so I like that'll be like, it was always like her job is she would like put the leftovers away for me while I like loaded the dishwasher, because I would like step in real quick to be like, I'm loading the dishwasher. No one else is going to load my dishwasher. I'm doing that. But so while I was doing that, she would like put leftovers away, and she would always put leftovers in like not the things I would put leftovers in. Like it was not matching up. And so that would drive me crazy too. Like absolutely, it's so dumb. So so I just expressed my concern, and I said, like, honestly, I appreciate everybody who tries to help me clean my kitchen. And I know it doesn't make any sense. And I'm a wild, crazy person for thinking this, but just like, don't help me. It helps me more if you don't help me. I don't mind. I don't care being in the kitchen if all you want to talk in the living room. Doesn't bother me a bit. Not a bit. Don't feel guilty at all. Do not feel guilty at all. I still had like over Christmas, like my mom, for some reason, I don't, and Allie, if Allie and my mom help me, I think it's because I'm maybe not scared to say to them, don't use that container, use this container or whatever, and like also washing the dishes, like actual washing them. Cause I'm going way too on about this, right? There's also some dishes that I don't put in dishwasher, and not necessarily because they can't go in, but just because they're too big or whatever. So those dishes, like I wash, and I swear to God, if other people wash my dishes, it's not good enough. And I can't even tell you why, but for some reason, the way my mom washes dishes, maybe that's just because I learned from her. And also my sister-in-law, when she was there at Christmas, I let her, I actually took a video of it. And I was like, Abby, this is a big step for me. I'm allowing you to wash my dishes. This is huge. It was kind of funny. But so yeah, that is just this can be the end of my kitchen talk. I've been talking about it way too long. But like also the counter space. Okay, just kidding. It's not enough. I like if there's shit sitting on my counter that's not supposed to be sitting on my counter for any, I can like be okay with it for a couple days. But if a couple days have passed and your shit's still sitting on the counter and it shouldn't be, like, I can't do that either. Like, that's like, get your shit off my counter. Why is it there? That's not where it belongs. It obviously belongs somewhere else because we're not just keeping this pile of papers on the counter. That's not where it goes. Clearly it doesn't go there. Or your random set of gloves or your random, like, I don't know, charger cord. That's not where, clearly we don't just keep the charger cord laying on the counter. So can you please take it and put it away? All right. So, end of kitchen pet peeves, OCD things. But, right? Am I the only one? I can't be the only one that has this. Let's see. Another thing that this is a little bit more um like deep, I guess. And it was actually something just that happened to me this morning. So I was sitting outside and I was having a cup of coffee, which is a really nice thing to do here, especially on a pretty day when it's nice outside, is to sit on our little patio. And because we have this like really pretty view of the valley and of the mountains, and there's a mountain like kind of right outside our door. And it's just like so refreshing and relaxing to sit there and look at the mountains while you're having your cup of coffee. And it just got me thinking about, like, it feels like most people, when they say like, oh, I just love looking at like God's creation, and I will think that to myself, like, it's just amazing for me to look out at this. And it just like makes me believe in God even more. Or like, it just solidifies my belief in God, that there's this beauty. And I'm of the opinion, not that it was created over billions of years by earthquakes and the ice age and blah 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 blah. I am just of the belief that it was created by God. And if those things happen, I don't believe it was billions of years ago, but if those things happen, it was, like, that was God's way of making them happen. But it allows me to see that beauty. Well, my thing is, like, I feel like I'm able to do that anywhere I'm at, you know, and it seems more normal that people will say that when they're in a landscaped, natural, more rural kind of setting, right? Like, you say that when you're driving through the mountains, or you say that when you're on a beach looking at the sunset, or you say that, um, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're in a very, like, in the middle of a woods, or you're at a waterfall, something that's like of natural beauty. Well, I feel like I'm able to do that anywhere. Um, and this is not like a tooting my own horn thing, but at all, I don't think. But I'm just saying that. So, like, for instance, when I go to visit Allie in New York, I can feel that same. Like, I could sit out on her fire escape. Sorry, that just sounded funny. She doesn't have a patio. They can't. This is New York. Can't afford that there. I could sit out on her fire escape. Let's just say I could sit out. Let's use a different example. Let's say I could sit out at this cute little cafe that I love, love, love going to when that looks like a block from where she lives. That's like just like a little coffee cafe, great food, whatever. But I just love that place. I just think it's so cute. It's so New York. It's so, like, feels like her neighborhood coffee shop. You know what I'm saying? But we can sit there and I can do the same thing. I can look out on the streets of New York and be like, I love this. This is so cool. And I don't know how come that can't be also God's hand, right? Because when you're there, the things that I'm looking at that I'm like, it's also amazing. The mountains are amazing. All of those things are God's natural blessings, right? But when I see like the diversity of people that are walking by and just all that comes with that, like all the people, all because I don't see that where I live, right? I don't, I, I've lived rural my whole life. Have lived where there's white Anglo-Saxon Americans my whole life. That's it. And going there to see her makes me see that like God didn't only create white Anglo-Saxon Americans. And I go there and like it just, I look at that as appreciation of that. And there is just, like when I say this, like all shapes and sizes and colors and, and like people that have different styles and that are some that are loud, some that are quiet, some that are like it's just everything. And I feel like that's such a healthy thing for a person to be a part of because God also created every single person that is on this planet, every single one of them. And they're all walking on the streets of New York. They're walking everywhere, but like every one of them. And I like that is something that also is like so, I don't know, it's eye opening to me. And it just makes me have, like I know Allie says that she kind of felt that way when she first moved there. Now it's like no big deal because it's just a part of her everyday life. And that's what I sometimes feel like when you're looking at, like, say, all the mountains and everything. If you don't live at a place where there's the mountains, I feel like you appreciate the mountains more. We live on a lake. When we first moved to the lake, I was like, I can't believe that I'm living on this lake. And I would look at this lake and I would be like, wow, this is so cool. I'm living here. Now it doesn't feel as cool, maybe. There'll be times I appreciate it more than others, but you like start taking it for granted. And I think it's important to, no matter where you are, kind of look at it and appreciate it as God's hand and God's blessing. I know it's all concrete and buildings and all of that, but like that also, I feel like, is God's creation. I mean, He has provided and allowed people the knowledge of, you know, like knowing how to build these skyscrapers. Like that kind of stuff kind of blows my mind too. Like the urban development that has been allowed and not manifested, but has grown over the years, the technology, all of that stuff. I mean, I know technology is not always a good thing, but it can be good things. People can use anything for bad, right? But like in general, we all say, oh, technology is the bane of our existence, blah, 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 blah. Yet we're all on our phones all the time. You know what I mean? Like, take that away from most people and they would be lost. Yeah, some people can have it taken away for 5 days and be like, oh, it's great to be off the grid. It's great to be off the grid, blah, 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 blah. And I know there's always exceptions to this rule, but then you also have, but would you really want to be off the grid for like permanently? I feel like the vast majority of people would be a no. I do. I know there's, again, I know, I realize there's exceptions to that rule, but I'm just saying in general. So, like, God created the people that have the minds, which blows my mind that there's people that smart that can create the things that we are using and generating right now. Like, anyway, back to my normal thing. Like, I can sit in a city and think the same thing. Like, I can be like, wow, like this is amazing that all of this exists and that all of this is like part of God's world. It just is. It's part of God's world. It's part of what He created. We need, I believe, these urban areas as much as we do rural areas. There's billions of people on the earth. We can't not have urban areas. I mean, it's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you can have a choice to want to live there or not, but I believe that it's all created for a reason. So I don't know. I would encourage everybody to kind of like, no matter where you are, look at, how God's hand is present in where you're sitting, and not just appreciate it when you're looking at a mountain or a beach or a sunset, but also to appreciate it when you're, on a subway, or you're in a bus, or you're in the middle of a city, or you're, traveling across the plains. There's God's touched every part of it. So yeah. Um, let's see. There was one more thing that I think this was very much. Oh, this was completely a different. Um, Maybe I should save this for a different time, because I'm already on 35 minutes, so I want to say that one. Set that aside. Um, okay, so now we're going to talk a little reality TV and TV in general. Okay, so when I had my little emergency podcast about the video coming out with Taylor Frankie Paul and her, throwing the chair and all that, I did not do another one about The Bachelorette being canceled, right? So we were still just wondering, was it going to be canceled or not? Okay, so yes, and I know this is kind of old news now. It's probably like a week old or so, but so yes, The Bachelorette was canceled. I really didn't think they were going to. I really did not think they were going to cancel it. So, as of the time that I recorded that podcast, we had only learned about new domestic violence charges that were being investigated, but for both her and Dakota. So then the video came out, the video of her throwing the chair, the video we all know about. That's when they decided to cancel the show. So my thoughts on that, because I haven't really given those yet. It's wild. When you talk about, I know this has probably been said 100 times, but when you talk about the most dramatic season ever, as Jesse Palmer and Chris Harrison like to say, this truly is the most dramatic season ever that has never been shown. But it is. And I, first of all, just feel so sorry for the kids that are involved with this, because this is something that they didn't ask to be a part of. They didn't ask for their mom to be on reality TV, nor the dad. So we've never seen her other two kids, because the dad, does not want them on TV. So kudos to that father. Sad part is that little girl was the one in the background crying when she threw the chair. So we hear her voice, and that is probably the most heart-wrenching thing about that whole video. There's also been now footage released of the police body cam footage of that night, after they were called. And it's disturbing. Like, even in that video, obviously she was the one that seemed like she had definitely lost the most control, even in the body cam video, and seemed the most erratic in that evening. Dakota seemed more present. Now I say that, but that I'm not in any form or fashion saying it makes him innocent, because it doesn't, because I think that he is kind of a scumbag. Okay, totally a scumbag. I think he is a manipulator. I think he manipulates every situation. I think that he is smart in the fact that he can identify times when he will look like the good guy to make her look like the bad guy in any scenario. So I don't think he's stupid. I think he is a smart person. And always is looking out for himself 100%. And I don't even doubt that he knew that in that moment, that if he acted calmly, that at some point could be worked to his advantage. Because there's things always coming out about him, and him sleeping with it. I just read something this morning on social media about how some other woman has come to light talking about how she was having hookups with him, but it was supposed to be while he was dating not even Taylor, but some other chick. I don't know. I just think he's like bad news, like really bad news. And he comes off as charismatic, and he's a good looking guy. So he gets that advantage, right? But I just feel sorry for these kids. And I think that it was the best thing for them to do to cancel the show. And they keep talking now about like releasing the show, and like they've made no announcement whether this is just temporary or it was canceled, yes, but it's not been specified whether it's been canceled for good, whether they'll ever air it, what they're going to do in place of it, if they're going to air something else. My personal opinion is, even if they air it, even being the big Bachelor fan that I am, I mean, I would watch it, yes, of course, but I'm not like clamoring for them to release it because, in my opinion, the season itself is still going to be anticlimactic. We're going to already know the ending typically, since I typically don't, I'm not one that spoils myself and looks for the ending. Obviously, everyone knows the ending of this one now. And so that part of me, I guess there's parts like, how would they edit this? Because you can't tell me that the final product that they were going to show us would be the final product that we would see if they did release it. You know that they're going to be going back probably and taking scenes out that would maybe indicate her erratic behavior, so as not to make themselves look bad. I don't think they would do it for her sake and to protect her. They would do it to protect themselves, because they would want to be like, oh, well, we filmed this and we were going to air this, and it's her being really erratic and losing her shit. So we don't want people to know that we knew that she was like in a bad mental health place and still had her do this show. We better pull that out to protect ourselves. It would not be for Taylor's sake. It would be for their sake, because they've lost so much money. I get it. It's a business, but it's also a person's life. And like, I don't know. I can't, my personal opinion would be that's shitty. I get that business have to make money and that they've lost a lot of it right now. But I wouldn't be that interested. I definitely don't need them to release it, because it's not going to be anything we haven't seen from Taylor before. All you have to do is watch Secret Lives of Mormon Lives to watch her lose her shit over and over and over. All you have to do is watch season 1, where that all happened. Everyone knew it happened. It was nothing new for ABC. It was literally on TV. They literally saw her being arrested on TV. So, the fact that they chose her still is kind of wild. So there's that whole aspect. But I've seen her act like that. I don't think anything she's going to do on The Bachelorette is going to be that much more like dramatic, or like must see, or like, wow, I can't believe she did that, or whatever the case may be. I've seen her living out her real life. We all know that The Bachelor edits stuff like to the hilt, and more than probably any other love competition show out there. Like, we only see, they never break the fourth wall. They never, or I shouldn't say never. They don't break it nearly as much as they make it seem so serious. It just, we all know these complaints about The Bachelor. And so why would this be any different to any certain extent? I mean, basically it's going to be another Bachelor show. They're probably just going to show her like chewing out some guy because he wasn't there for the right reason and making him leave. Who cares? Big deal. They're definitely going to edit it to their advantage, which is going to make it feel like not authentic either. So I don't care if they ever release it. I don't think it's that big a deal, because we're just going to see a completely manipulated version of what it was. There also has been talks. I think there were talks about trying to get a couple other Mormon wives to be the Bachelorettes. I haven't heard of that lately, so I feel like that's not going to happen. The latest thing I've heard is that Maura Higgins from Love Island, who was also on this past season of The Traitors, that they were in talks with her to possibly be the next Bachelorette. I guess that's all fine and dandy. I just think that they've burned their bridge now. And I don't know that they're going to fully come back from this. And I just think the franchise probably needs to just hang it up. If they're not going to hang it up, then they need to just completely change the format. Like, totally shift it. because anymore, there's so much more, there are so many more love competition shows, which I'm going to talk about one next, that are so much more fun to watch because they're fresh, they're new concepts, they are kind of in on the joke. They talk about more relevant issues. Um, they're just, I mean, I know they're not real, but they're more realistic and fun to watch. I just think that there's certain shows that, you just have to hang it up after a while. And the part about The Bachelorette was that it already had reached that point, which is why they reached out and hired Taylor Frankie Paul to be the Bachelorette. And look what happened. I think like that's the most ironic part of this is that they hired her to save the franchise, and it ended up she was the demise of the franchise. And I don't know, like after all that they can bounce back from that, no matter who they get. I think they need to cast like I don't know that Maura Higgins, like whatever. Obviously, I'm going to watch it, but I think it's going to bring less people. I think they're going to be so careful with what they do now that I don't know. I don't think I don't think it will be the savior of the show. I think even if they bring her on and it's a super successful season, what are you going to do the next season? I even said that after this Taylor season. What are you going to do the next season then? Like, are you going to have to continue to get celebrities to be your leads? Like, I've also heard now that this guy that Taylor chose in the end of this show, that they're wanting to ask him to be the Bachelor. Well, fine. Like, he's gotten his moment of fame as being the person she chose, but no one knows anything about him. Nothing. And so why would that save the franchise? I don't know. I just think that I don't know. I think it's not worth saving at this point. And I think that they just need to end it, in my opinion. Unless they do a complete and total revamp and maybe, instead of one guy or the lead dating 30 people, which in the realm of reality love competition shows now is the most unrealistic one, because every other competition show now, the interesting part of it is like the drama that comes between like possible other couples, or um, like in Love Is Blind, where you have different connections in the pods, and then they see each other outside the pods. Um, like we just watched Love Overboard the same way. Like you have different couples. It's better drama when you have both male and female present, and Temptation Island. That's literally what that is about. But it's not about just one guy. It's about several guys. You follow different stories. This one is just like you follow one story. They try to start drama with girls, but it's all the same kind of drama. You have the same villain who's not there to make friends. It's the same. Anyway, you get the gist of it. So I guess to just close that up, I hope they don't. I just hope they just stop. I don't really want to see another Bachelor season. I'm done with it. This podcast was created based on The Bachelor, and I'm even saying that now. I would be one that says I'd never want to see the end of The Bachelor, but I feel like it's time. I also just think that Taylor Frankie Paul needs to just go off of TV altogether. I think she needs to just focus on her mental health and her kids and how to rid herself of the baggage that is Dakota. And I don't know that's going to happen. I've heard the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives has not picked up cameras again. They're still on pause from filming. Wondering what's going to do to that show. It's just a lot. And it's also a lot to have on somebody's shoulders, and it's on Taylor's shoulders. And I feel for that person. And people can say, you know what you signed up for. And she did, but you don't know where it's going to take you, and it depends on the place of mental health of the person in that moment, years down the road, things that progress it just is, it's not as simple as you know what you signed up for, I don't think. I just hope that she has the people in her life that will direct her and help her and not be out for their own benefit and the money that she can make them, so to speak. So, yeah. Um, so Love Overboard. This is kind of a funny story. So this is if you haven't heard, if you haven't heard about it, watched it, I would highly recommend. And one of the reasons I would highly recommend is because there's only been 2 reality shows that Tim, my husband, um, will watch and that I've gotten him to watch. He's tried several. He's tried Love is Blind. He's tried Bachelorette. Um, and he can't, like, has stopped watching both of those, thinks they're stupid. Well, I think he really thinks they're all stupid. But he has watched Temptation Island. I've talked about this on the podcast, but that's going to start airing. That's a side note. That second season of that, the Netflix second season of that show's been around a long, long time. But Netflix has their second showing of it starting April 10th, which I cannot wait for because I love, love, love that show. But he watched that one with me and was really invested in that one with me. Like, couldn't wait for the drops. Watched the whole reunion, was like completely invested with me. So he'll be watching that with me. What happened was when we flew into Missoula, we fly into Missoula Airport, and our house is about a 2.5 hour drive from Missoula. Well, we got in later at night on the night we got into Missoula, and so we just stayed in Missoula. This was Sunday night. This is the night The Bachelorette was supposed to premiere. So ABC had come up with a couple different things to fill that, because I think it was going to be a 3-hour premiere, maybe. Whatever the case may be. I think they showed an episode of American Idol, maybe, but then they showed, so Love Overboard is a new love competition show hosted by Gabby Windey, which we know is a former Bachelorette, but it is created by Alex Cooper, who, as a reminder, is the host of Call Her Daddy. So this is her creation. So it's on Hulu, and was always just going to air on Hulu. Was never going to be on network TV. But I guess they had the idea to go ahead and air the first episode, which probably was smart because it worked with us and it worked for Tim. But they showed it on ABC as kind of a teaser to get you to be like, oh, I'm going to watch this show, but I have to go to Hulu. That's always kind of a brilliant, at least for people who still watch network TV, which we're part of that. Paramount Plus does that a lot with like the Yellowstone shows. They'll show an episode on CBS and then you get hooked, but then you have to go get Paramount Plus to watch the rest of the season. So anyway, we're sitting in the hotel and we're flipping through channels and we saw this and we stopped because it was in the midst of a very dramatic part. Well, we got hooked, or I that was easy for me to do, but normally he'd be like, this is stupid, but he kept watching. Well, there's hot chicks in it, right? Skinny, hot, young, hot chicks. So what full-blooded man isn't going to like that, right? So we were watching it, and it was kind of funny too. Like, there were funny aspects of it. Like, that's what I think is kind of crucial too in these shows, is to sometimes be in on the joke. Like when the show and the host are in on the joke, kind of, of it being a reality TV show. They were very much like that, very much fourth wall, taking it down, and he liked it. He was like, that was like funny. And he kind of got invested, and there's a part where the contestants walk the plank and whatever. And that was left on a cliffhanger. So when we got to the house, finally, I was like, we should start watching that show. And he was like, I'll watch that show. So we did. And it was one where they released all the episodes at one time. There was 9 episodes, and we have now, over this past week since we've been here, watched them all. And it really is good. Like, I wasn't convinced at first because Gabby Windey, I'm not a fan of hers. Her humor goes both ways for me. Like, some stuff I find really funny, but some stuff I find annoying as hell. I just am hot and cold with her. And the first episode I watched, I was more cold than hot with her. I can't really put my finger on what about her that annoys me. I think one thing I remember specifically is whenever she came out of the closet, or she announced that she was with another woman, was like, she reminded us at every twist and turn that she was a lesbian now. And I was like, okay, that's great. Like, you don't have to keep saying the word lesbian. Like, it was on every interview, on every TikTok, on every, like, other lesbians don't constantly talk about being a lesbian and saying the word lesbian. Like, we get it. We know you are. We're fine. Now just be a lesbian and don't have to announce it every 3 seconds. Like I don't get that. It was like she was trying to convince herself almost that she was. And I don't know. I just thought that was weird. So whatever. She's done well for herself in general since The Bachelorette. She's probably one of the most successful bachelorettes as far as like followers and that kind of thing. But anyway, and also being the host of this, I thought also she did a good job overall. Wait, another part is that she plays a big part in being host. So to compare it to Age of Attraction, which is hosting Nick Viall and Natalie Joy, now, to be fair, I have not finished that one because I'll be honest, I kind of lost interest in it. So I don't know for a fact that they weren't nearly as involved, because maybe they were more involved as the show progressed, but they were hardly on the show at all. So to call themselves hosts didn't even seem like. Nick kept like talking about what a star Natalie was because she was so good at hosting. I was like, how do you know? I barely even heard her talk. Gabby is much more a part of the show, but it's in a very effective way, and they use her as a humor aspect in it. And so I think it's very effective in Love Overboard, the way they use Gabby in the show. And I think she was really perfectly cast as the host. Even someone that doesn't, like, a huge fan of her, I think she did a really good job of doing what she was supposed to do as host in the show. And so anyway, but the basis of the show is that they bring on guys and girls, and they like just commingle for a while. They kind of like, there's ones that are selected to go topside and ones that are selected to go the lower side. The topside ones are like the ones who get to be waited on hand and foot, and they get to enjoy all the luxuries of the yacht, this big yacht they're on. The other ones have to like do the cleaning and the cooking and the serving and all of that. In the meantime, they're forming connections with each other, and there's competitions where you get a chance to be on the top side. And then, if you are, then there's places where you get kicked to be to the downside. On every show, there's a person that has to like walk the plank. And because like someone's choosing between two people, and the one that they don't choose gets dropped, and he walks the plank and he leaves the show, or you think he leaves the show, and there's twists and turns to it, but it's really good. It's really funny. I think like in their interviews, that they do on every single show where you have your like one-on-one interviews, they're really funny parts, and they really break the fourth wall a lot and talk about the fact that this is a dating show and I can't believe I'm on this dating show. Even conversations between them. There's certain people that they cast that are just really comedic relief for the show. I thought it was really good. We watched the whole thing. I would highly recommend it. Even though I'm a bigger fan of like Nick and Natalie and listen to their podcast all the time, I found that the episodes that I have watched, I feel like I still need to give it a chance, because I haven't even gotten to where they go home from that one yet. Tim watched part of that one with me. I thought he'd be more interested in that one just because there were like not, like it might have seemed more real because they're older people in it. He hated it. He thought it was stupid. I also think they didn't discuss enough real stuff in that show. Anyway, I should probably give it another chance, but I would definitely recommend this one over Age of Attraction, which is on Netflix. But it was funny. It's good. It's entertaining. As a woman, you'll probably feel like shit after watching it because they definitely are not inclusive with body types that they put on the show. So just telling you that in advance, they're all very skinny. very beautiful women who you sit there and go, yeah, I look like a fat piece of shit, when you're watching it. Um, so beware of that. They're definitely not inclusive with that, but it's very entertaining. So there's my Love Overboard little spiel. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, just a few little things. Um, I've heard that Lisa Rinna is, this is from Dumois. She usually has pretty accurate information. This is for Real House of Beverly Hills. Did I just say that? Um, Supposedly they're in like pretty serious talks with Lisa Rinna to bring her back to the franchise. But apparently also Kyle Richards, there's a high chance that she is going to be leaving the franchise. Now, in my opinion, both of those things are huge. I would love it if they're both on because I like Kyle Richards. She's the OG on that show. She's been on it since the beginning. I believe she's been on it since the very beginning. If not, she's been on it for the vast majority of the time. She's the only OG still on there. But I enjoy watching her. I enjoy watching her storyline. I enjoy watching how she dresses. I like what she adds to the show. I think it'll be a shame and I would miss her if she left. So I would like both of them to come. I also, though, think it would be a great addition to bring Lisa Rinna back. She is amazing TV, and I'm just a fan of Lisa Rinna's to begin with. So I'm anxious to see if that plays out and how that plays out. I really hope that the part about Kyle doesn't come to fruition. Um, I guess the only other thing left that I really would talk about. I mean, well, okay, let's real quick. Summer House. I guess the big thing on Summer House now is us watching the demise of Amanda and Kyle's marriage, and we continue to watch that progress. What we're also watching is what's going to happen between West and Sierra. The things that are a little bit spoiler on that is just again the day of social media. Like we're watching their social media. We know that West and Sierra are not together, or it certainly doesn't appear that they are because of things that are now recently happening. Amanda and West have been seen together several times, and he went on Watch What Happens Live, and Andy tried to clarify that with him. He did say they were just friends. To me, it seemed like a little bit of talking around the topic because I'd have to watch it again. I don't know if he said we're just friends. Like he definitely tried to really stress the fact that they were friends, meaning that he could be thinking of it like, well, we are friends, but we're also kind of involved. You know what I mean? And just not say that part and say, well, I didn't lie because we are friends. She was seen wearing his sweatshirt. Like, I know that's it's like crazy that people watch this kind of stuff. I only see it on the social media. I didn't catch it. But apparently there's on one of the shows, he's like the shows that we watch, a Summer House shows, he's wearing this particular sweatshirt. And then in a recent post that Amanda had, she was wearing the same sweatshirt, not with him. Like it was just her wearing that sweatshirt in the post, and someone identified that. Yes, it could be that she has the sweatshirt too, but it's kind of a very specific sweatshirt. Um, Apparently, also Sierra. I can't remember if she's not following Amanda, but she usually always commented on Amanda's stuff and hasn't commented on anything of Amanda's for like 2 months. And so people are speculating the fact that she's like pissed at Amanda because her and West have maybe a thing now. There's nothing been confirmed, nothing. This is all speculation by fans and people and all that. It's like so many times this stuff ends up being true. So I think there's maybe something to it. I don't know. But we've also had Kyle come out and make a statement that appears like, and maybe he doesn't know, but he is very apologetic to how he treated Amanda on this season. And he said that outrightly, made no excuses for that. So it seems that Amanda and Kyle are good, which you'd think if she was dating West, he wouldn't be. So there's all these things. I will say this is a great season. Summer House is actually one of my favorites on Bravo. It really is. of all the shows, even the Housewives. I really just, and I'm really happy with the people they have brought on this season. I've talked about that. But yeah, so I'm enjoying that season. We've got a couple things starting up soon. The Valley, the regular Valley, not Persian style that we just ended not long ago, but that the Valley, I think this will be their third season, is starting this week, as is Real Housewives of Rhode Island, which is brand new. And this is also something that Ashley Iconetti, that is Bachelor Nation, is going to be a part of. So very, very anxious to see her, like my two worlds collide with that. That's actually, I think that premieres Sunday night, which I'm recording on Sunday. So that's tonight. Next Sunday, no, I think that premieres Thursday, but its regular night is going to be Sunday night. So I think they're premiering it before or after Beverly Hills for its initial premiere, but then its regular night is going to be on Sunday nights. Next Sunday, Real Housewives of Atlanta also premieres. We have Southern Charm that just ended, and seems like we have something else that's going to be ending. I think Beverly Hills should be ending soon too. But anyway, Bravo continues to release the shows. I continue to have to find hours to watch all of them. I get it in though. I do. I always think, oh my God, I have like 6 hours of TV to watch. How am I going to get that all in? But I do. So I am really excited to see Rhode Island though, and watch Ashley in a different, on a show that's not The Bachelorette, because if we remember, Ashley Canetti was so famous for all the crying and crying over Jared and like all the things. And I'm anxious to see her on a show that is just a completely different format. So that should be good. So yeah, continue to be just this huge Bravo fan and loving it all. That's what I do instead of piddle and fix carburetors and like clean out ditches and like fix my lawn, is I watch reality TV. So sue me. Real quick, just another thing this isn't reality TV, but we also, Tim and I, while we're here, are rewatching Peaky Blinders. This is not reality TV, it's just a show. If you've never watched Peaky Blinders on Netflix, this is also a show I highly, highly recommend. It is a very dark show. It's dark, and like literally visually it's dark, but also the content is dark, but it is binge worthy. The story, I think it's quick moving. You always are wondering the next show, what's going to happen on the next show? What's going to happen on the next show? It's not a boring show at all. It's constantly moving. It is like there is a good amount of violence. But Cillian Murphy, that plays Thomas Shelby, the main character in it, is amazing. I'm in love with him. But we're rewatching it because we actually watched it for the first time several years ago when we're in Idaho again. But recently Netflix released the movie, and they've been talking about a movie after the series ended. There's 6 seasons, 6 episodes per season. So it's a really quick series to watch because there's only 6 episodes per season. I get that that's 36 shows. I can do my math, but, it flies by. But anyway, we were curious to see the movie, so we watched that first. We were going to try and rewatch the series first, thinking that would help us with the movie. But then we're like, it's been like years, and so maybe they're not going to try to like totally connect the two. Well, that's correct. So, I mean, it definitely helps if you've watched it and kind of know. You can't just watch Peaky Blinders the movie and never have watched Peaky Blinders and really get much out of it. It really won't probably mean that much to you. But if you watched Peaky Blinders a long time ago, it's still okay to watch the movie because it like picks up at years later, and they still, obviously talk about things that have happened, but it's kind of addressing a new issue, so to speak. And it definitely comes to an ending too for the whole series. Now there won't be another movie, at least that I could see. But it was a good movie. If you're a Peaky Blinders fan, definitely would recommend watching the movie, but not having to rewatch the series. However, we are rewatching the series, and it's as good the second time as it was the first time. and we thought we were going to not enjoy it as much. I've never rewatched a series like that. Um, like a lot of people have rewatched like Gilmore Girls a million times and stuff like that. This, I was afraid, and Tim especially, I wouldn't have been as affected by it, but he thought it would be anticlimactic to watch it because you would remember, what happens, and so it would be no surprise. But there's so much. Well, we know my memory anyway, but there's so much that I just didn't. I don't like most of it. I mean, there's obviously stuff that you're like, oh yeah, I remember this part, but it's just so good. So if you're looking for a series to watch, Peaky Blinders, highly recommend. So, yes, that is it for this episode. As usual, I appreciate you all listening. If you ever have any recommendations for things you'd like me to talk about, TV or life in general, just let me know via my social media, via the podcast reviews, via anything. Go rate my podcast, click, subscribe, click follow, just do all the things that you do to any podcast you enjoy listening to help it out. And I'll be back again from Idaho because we're out here for another 2 weeks. So I'll definitely be back again. And I just hope you guys have a great week. And until then, be calm, be strong, be kind, and be grateful. Bye.